So, I haven't done a quick game review in a while, not since I did the one on What the Fog, and scripted game reviews are being worked on. It's just, I have to keep pausing my progress inside of those projects to work on other projects that have to be uploaded right away, and game reviews are kind of a secondary content on this channel, so they have to be continuously pushed to the side. But I am slowly working my way through that. Anyway, Deadlocked, Valve's new first-person shooter MOBA thing. Some steady pacing feels like is what I need to do. Anyway, if you're not familiar, quick reviews are videos where instead of writing a script to do a review on a video game, I just kind of turn on the camera and talk about my thoughts. So let's talk about Deadlocked, Valve's new first-person shooter, hero shooter, MOBA thing. Not really a first-person shooter. It's played in third person. I will say, out of everything, Deadlocked is a MOBA game first and foremost, and you can kind of tell that just from the way the game is. If you are somebody who has really decent shooter experience in gaming, so like if you're like really good at Valorant or Apex or Overwatch or whatever, those skills don't transfer over that well. I am dog shit at video games, but I feel like I'm a pretty decent shot in most games, and it did not help me that much at all. You also don't really have any transferable skills for something like Overwatch. I was an Overwatch coach for a while. I know a lot about Overwatch. I have a lot of game knowledge, and none of those transferred over. But the one thing that I don't have skills in is MOBAs, because I've never really gotten into them. I've never played Dota, and my only experience with League of Legends was like a 3-hour gaming session where I got told to off myself like no less than 5 times. One time was when I was playing against the bots. I got told to off myself in my very first match when we were playing against bots, which was wild. It was a wild experience. I don't ever want to deal with that again. But Deadlocked is slightly different. Deadlocked is a third-person shooter. I said first person, but it's a third-person hero shooter with I should say Deadlocked is a MOBA game with third-person hero shooter elements. And for the most part, I enjoy all of the action-related parts of the game, right? The gunplay is fun, the movement is satisfying, everything about Deadlock, like playing the actual being in the action, is really, really fun. Everything else feels really bad, and I think it's more of my lack of experience over anything else. I will say that if you love MOBAs, you're going to love Deadlocked, because it is a MOBA game through and through. You have the 4 lanes, you have the guardians, you have the thing at the end you gotta blow up, you have long ass respawn times, you've got a billion items that you can buy in between rounds. There's a lot to learn of it. It's a very complicated game. It just came out, and there's tons of shit. I wasn't even like really thinking or like reading anything, because you don't really have time to think and read anything. You have to like be constantly trying to upgrade yourself in order to keep up with the enemy. It's the type of game where if you walk in and you lose your first fight, then there's a very good chance you're going to struggle from that point out. You have to win your first fight, and you also have to be very patient, which is frustrating because the action part of the game, the shooting, the movement, the gunplay, the abilities even, are all built around being in the action right now, right at this moment, right? Everything around the actual fighting is designed like Apex Legends or Fortnite or even Overwatch, where you have to constantly be in the action. You're going brrr, and then you're jumping and you're dashing and you're taking other vantage points and stuff like that, where you have to keep doing that. But the style of MOBAs entails that you have to be more patient with the flow of the game. I played around 4 hours of Deadlock today. I got about 4 matches in, because matches take a long fucking time. My longest match today was like 47 minutes. Like matches take a while, right? But so I played a lot of it today, and so much of my deaths were because I was impatient, because I wanted to do the runny, gunny, shooty, but that's not how you play MOBAs. How you play MOBAs is you hang back, you hide behind your minions, you kill off each of their little guys so that you can get some extra money, and then you try to like patiently exchange blows with your opponent, and it feels really bad. There's a lot of stuff in Deadlock that feels really bad. And again, a lot of it is attributed to just the way MOBAs are designed. One big thing that pissed me off was the increasing respawn timer. I died a lot, which is a skill issue, I'm aware. But after I would die, after a little bit, like maybe like 3 or 4 deaths, the respawn timer gets up into like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, a minute. And it's just a minute of you sitting there with your thumb up your ass. This is not the kind of game that you play if you want to continuously get back into the action. Respawn timers are so long that you probably can just keep a book by your desk and get fucking, I don't know, like 1 or 2 chapters done before you respawn. It is the most flow-breaking gameplay decision I've ever seen in my life. Now, I have been told by people that the point of the long respawn timer is to make it to where you can't just stomp somebody who gets one up on you, which seems like a good idea until you're the one being stomped and you can't get one up on the opponent. One of the games that I had, I didn't record this one, but one of the games that I had, my team like got rolled. We all got rolled. And at one point, they made it to our guardian, our patron, whatever it's called. It's the last thing that you got to destroy. And they destroyed it before we all respawned. Like they basically they walked up to it, started shooting it, and killed it before we respawned. And that's not a good feeling. You feel like you don't get to like step up and stop what's happening. And at one point I was getting like just frustrated. It's not that I wasn't having fun with Deadlocked. I did have fun. I was having a good time, but there was just so many like minor frustrations that build up over time. The flow breaking respawn, there was this really really annoying thing that would happen where there would be no enemies around and I would just be minding my own business, like walking through, and all of a sudden they would like jump up out of the sky and I would explode. I would just fucking explode. The number of times my health would go from max to 0 before I even knew what the fuck happened was insane. And the game does thankfully give you a death recap to tell you what you took damage from, as well as gives you the ability to hit R to replay your death so you can see what happened. But it's the fact that I would explode before I knew what happened that's the problem. Yeah, I could go back and see what happened, and that's really helpful, I will agree, but at the same time, it doesn't stop me from exploding. But when I would try the same thing, it wouldn't do anything. A lot of times it felt like there was nothing I could do to kill the enemy, because no matter what point we were at in the match, whether it's the first duel that I was taking or late into the game, it always felt like the enemy was not taking damage, or they would get really low, but then they wouldn't die, or it felt like I was taking too much damage. And again, this is all probably attributed to skill issue, but I'll tell you what's not attributed to skill issue, and that's the fucking absurd amount of CC in this fucking game. Getting hooked, stunned, slept, frozen, pulled into like, there's this character that does like brah, and then he pulls everyone into him like an Orisa ult. It's just so fucking frustrating. Overwatch 1 had a huge problem with CC, a massive problem, to where playing the game was not fun. It wasn't a good time. Nobody liked doing it. Because every time you would go to like dive in, or you would go to attack something, you would just go boop, 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 and it'd just die, and you couldn't do anything about it because all your abilities would be locked down, and there's just Oh, I don't like how games love doing this thing where they're like, I know what's a good idea for abilities, shutting down the enemy's ability to do anything. And like 1 or 2 abilities that do that is kind of fine, because then you can like balance around that and you can think to yourself, okay, they have that character, so I'm probably gonna get to, but when you've got so many characters that do it and the entire enemy team can be filled up with them, you die before you understand what happened. You die and there's nothing you can do about it. Getting constantly stunned, stuck in place, slept, all this other shit is just not a fun time. And it really aggravates me because I think if you took a lot of the MOBA elements out of Deadlock and you reduce the CC down to like 2 instead of a billion, I think it would actively be a contender for a really great game. What kind of game? I don't know. Do you guys remember Rogue Company? It was a game for, it was on the Epic Games Store, and it actually, Rogue Company this game reminds me a lot of Rogue Company. I liked Rogue Company. I was actually really sad that Rogue Company didn't take off because it was actually a really fun game, had solid shooter elements, good gameplay, the abilities were well balanced, and it was a really fun game. That's what this reminds me of, and I am, like I said, I am having fun with Deadlock, but I can't wrap my head around how MOBAs are designed, and I feel like once I understand that, I might have a bit of a better time. The last thing I want to talk about is that the game has VC, voice chat. I would turn that off immediately. Voice chat is pretty shit. That one game that I was playing, this guy comes onto the microphone and he goes, dude, you gotta go back to your lane. What are you doing? Dude, go back to your lane. Oh my God, you're just letting them take the lane for free. Go back to your lane. Who the fuck was he talking to? You? Me? God? I don't know. No one knows. Literally, that was some of the most useless communication I have ever heard in my entire life. Because who are you speaking to? Who are you telling to go back to their lane? And also, who's gonna listen to you? Because, dude, when I say he said, gotta go back to your lane, that's exactly how he sounded. That's the exact voice he used. No one is going to listen to you. No one's gonna listen to you. Also, it's an open beta. Calm the fuck down, right? Like, some of these guys were trying to calm like we were in a fucking $10 million tournament. Chill. Chill. Let's just enjoy the open beta, okay? Let's like actually like just enjoy the game for like 2 seconds before we enter fucking competitive, okay? So I just mute VC every single game because, like, I really don't want to deal with that. I do the same thing in Overwatch. Listening to people whine and complain in my ear instead of giving actual communication has never been my idea of a good time. And the fact that people are already flaming each other for not playing the game perfectly when it's a brand new game, and to be completely honest, like, not understanding MOBAs is pretty common because MOBAs are fucking complicated. They're a complicated genre. There's a reason I never played any other MOBAs outside of League of Legends. The only reason I ever played League of Legends was because a friend of mine played it and he wanted me to play with him. And to be completely honest with you, I would have probably kept playing if, you know, him and I had stayed friends. But the point is that generally speaking, MOBAs are complicated games, and it's a brand new game. So flaming people right off the bat is just annoying. So I would turn VC off if you do choose to play Deadlock. Of course, in order to play it, you have to like do this like weird invite chain, which is the weirdest way to have an open beta I've ever seen. Like, you have to invite other Steam players to the game, and then they have to invite other Steam players. It's just weird. It's just weird. I don't understand why it works that way, but yeah. But yeah, Deadlocked, pretty fun. If you're not into MOBAs, you're not gonna like it. If you've never played a MOBA before like me, you're gonna be shit at it. And if you love MOBAs, you'll probably love this game because it is a really well-designed MOBA as well as a well-designed third-person hero shooter. So, recommend. And that's all I have for you guys today. As always, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. You want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Need more Kaiser in your life? Well, I've got you covered. Check out my second channel, The Kaiser Extras, where I upload full gameplays, stream compilations, me reacting to your Dead by Daylight clips, and more. We also upload a daily short with all the greatest clips from stream. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description.